The Fuel Retailers Association is hosting a two-day conference. The conference has brought industry stakeholders to discuss issues facing fuel retailers on the back of escalating fuel prices. Economics reporter Liabo Setho is attending the conference and has more for us.
Thank you so much. The developments around the increase of fuel that we've been seeing over the past few months have sparked a new debate about those people who want to go into the fuel retailing business and whether this would be a viable time for them to do so. Industry experts talk about that if deregulation, for instance, of 93 ULP goes ahead as government is touting to that this could impact on transformation and the number of black people that come into the fuel retailing space. With that, I've invited the co-founder of PetroConnect, Mr. Sibonelo Mbatha, to come talk to us about the impact of deregulating 93 and also what government has been talking about possibly looking at slashing or capping fuel retailers' margins. We'll also talk about if you are at home and you have that entrepreneurial drive and want to see yourself owning a fuel retail station one day, what are the things that you need to know before you go into this industry? Mr. Mbatha, thank you so much for making time to speak to us here at the SABC. Firstly, you've talked extensively about the problems around the deregulation of 93 ULP. Can you take us through that once again?
I think it's important for the public to know that the industry is really faced with serious attacks right now. And this is not to really, threaten people that want to come into the industry as such, but it is more a warning to policymakers. You recall that, in the margin of petrol, we only have about R2.28 to play with, at best case scenario. Worst case scenario, looking at about R45, depending on res matrix.
Yeah.
Now, if you are going to a retailer and you're saying, when I rent 45 gross margin, go and compete, you are basically rendering the industry unsustainable. And in the main, at such a crucial point where transformation is starting to gain momentum in the industry, and you will recall that these candidates that come into the industry are highly geared, in most cases, 80%, 90% geared, with a 5-year payment plan. And so the problem then is that if you are new rules where you are threatening sustainability and taking away the fixed margin, remember when they bought the business, it is based on fixed margin cash flows forecasted over 5 years. And at no point did they accommodate a discount of that margin. And so that is why this is such a bad move, even talk about it. Yeah. It's a no-go zone because it is going to undo all the good work that the government has done over the past few years.
Yeah. You did talk about the fact that we've made such impressive strides in terms of transformation. I know that the country has about more than just over 5,000 fuel retail stations. Of those, how many are owned by black people and maybe by women as well?
Well, while the statistics, I haven't seen the real statistics, but the last time I checked, you were looking at about 17% African-owned businesses in the fuel retail sector. And of that 17%, just under 5% was black women. And this just tells you how much more do we still need to do to at least, make some meaningful strides in as far as transformation is concerned.
Yeah. Let's talk about those that have that desire. Fuel retail stations are something that are in our communities. Everywhere you go to the corner, that's where we bought bread, that's where you buy milk, your fuel, obviously. And some people that do have the desire of owning one. Can you take us through, and maybe our viewers at home, about what they need to know about getting into this industry and what they need to have?
So all companies will have different sort of selection criteria, but as PetroConnect, we train people that want to come into the industry. We will actually do a bit of vetting, in terms of your credit scoring and all that kind of stuff. to make sure that you're clean, because you are going to need funding, and unfortunately you have to be credit worthy. But more than that, it is desirable that we get somebody with a 3-year post-matric qualification. Doesn't matter whatever sphere that is. But then when it comes to funding, we've partnered with a strategic partner who is willing, or rather has funded, a number of candidates, over 80 of them. And the funding criteria is that they need 20% unencumbered from themselves, and the bank is going to fund 80%. So we've covered all those areas. So all we do through the PetroConnect Readiness Program, it's a 2-week program that will take you through, it will really teach you the ins and outs of the industry, so that, the 2 things that you need to know after that is whether this industry is for you or not, because it's important. We don't want you to take all your pension, put it in the business, and only find out after a year that it's actually not what you thought it is. Yeah? But if you then feel that this is the right business for you, we then support you throughout the journey in terms of making sure that the valuation for the business is done correctly, you paying the correct price, making sure that we assist you with the applications of the retail licenses and so forth, right through the takeover process. But what's even more important is that we don't just leave you, but we also mentor you post-placement, because for us, it's about sustainability of transformation.
Because we do want to see more Africans. What's your target, being somebody that has been in the industry for quite a while? What picture would you want to see in South Africa in terms of these 5,000 plus fuel retail stations, irrespective of which oil company it is?
Let me just give you the statistics. We are sitting with 80% black population in South Africa, and I think your answer will probably be somewhere thereabout.
Mr. Sibonelo Mbatha is the co-founder of PetroConnect, taking us through. If you have a desire to own a fuel retail station, he's taken us through what you need to have, and also their displeasure with what government has been proposing in terms of deregulating 93 ULP, as well as looking at capping the margins of fuel retailers, saying that this will really throttle the industry. That's all from us for now. It's back to you in studio.